Can you tell how many people are looking at it?
At any given point right now, we have 5.
That's cool. That's more than we usually have here, so that's great.
And they are able to send, I've been broadcasting it, they can send us text messages, emails, or through Messenger. And at the end, when the chief talked about that, I'll stand up. And I won't say and I've said that, I won't say anybody that does not post their name. They don't give me their name. That way I can say from so-and-so for the record.
Right,
Right.
So,
okay. Because I was gonna make that little announcement, but if you've already done it, I won't.
Well, yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt for you to announce it while we're on
Okay,
screen.
we ready?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we'll call to order the Board of Directors meeting of the Central Oregon Coast Fire and Rescue District for Thursday, April 16th, 2020. The meeting is being streamed live. If anyone has public comments or questions, they can text or email them to the information station, and the questions will be relayed to the board members and answered, if possible, at the end of the meeting. Pledge of Allegiance. Right behind me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before the roll call, we need to swear in our new board member. So Peter, if you would rise and move to the center.
Of course. But don't get too close.
6 feet out.
Is that 6 feet?
That's close enough, yeah.
Okay. Repeat after me, please. I
I, Peter Carlich,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and honorably perform
and honorably perform
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Central Oregon Coast Fire and Rescue District
of the Central Oregon Coast Fire and Rescue District
Board Member,
Board Member,
a position to which
a position to which
I have been appointed
I have been appointed
to the best of my ability.
to the very best
You
of
gonna
my
try to
ability.
deposit a check without a signature?
Okay,
Do you want signatures on it?
You are gonna need to get his signature on it.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard.
thank you.
Well planned.
Okay, now we can have a roll call.
Rita Ackerman,
Present.
Tim Grady,
Present.
Dave Brooks,
Present.
Kevin Battles,
Present.
Peter Carlich.
Present.
A quorum is present.
Buy dinner for one.
Oh, I know, yeah. Yes.
Okay, approval of the minutes of
March 19th.
March 19th.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of March 19th meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion? Additions, corrections, hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And here's the
And-
original for,
And also, well, do we approve there really aren't any minutes for our special meeting. So,
no, the executive
yeah,
session, no.
so we don't have to worry about that.
Oh, actually, I do have minutes from that.
Well, there are minutes, but
There are minutes, and we can go ahead
there's not
and,
much there.
and approve them. If you wanna hang on for just a second, I'll go print them. It's a single page.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I completely had forgotten about that.
Okay. Seeing no, since our normal citizen is now on the board,
You're no longer a citizen.
You're one of those people.
get that out of your mind. Right. Now we'll wait for her to bring it back. It was just an executive session, so there's not a lot there, but we still need to.
You need to sign right there, please.
Don't you keep that?
I think I do. It goes in our binder.
Something like that.
Is there, we must have to notify the county also, I would think.
Probably so. I'll let them know. Is that Rita's or yours?
That's Rita's. Mine sometimes beeps and sometimes it squeals like an actual alarm. I never know if I figure out why it does.
Yes, the active
different things at
911
once.
is working again now. I sent them an email yesterday and called them, and then they didn't think it was their problem, and I checked with the active 911 people, and they were gonna research it, so
Working again.
it's fixed now.
That's good.
And our radio system that was down is also, for the most part, fixed.
Was it the Risley repeater?
There was more than one repeater that they had some issues apparently, so.
Really?
Since the minutes were not included in the board packet, I will read them into the record.
Okay.
What, executive session minutes though?
These are executive session
Okay.
minutes, yes.
Okay.
Central Oregon Coast Fire and Rescue District, March 9th, 2020, special board meeting minutes. Call to order and roll call. Chair Grady called the meeting to order at 5:43 PM. Chair Grady and board members Eckerman and Brooks answered the roll. Board member Battles was excused. A quorum was present. Also present were Fire Chief Woodson and Attorney Rockwell. Executive session at 5:44 PM. The board recessed into executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602H to consult with counsel regarding the legal rights and duties of a public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed. The purpose of the session was to receive updates on employment-related litigation. Actions, if any, from executive session, none. Adjournment. At 6:23 PM, there being no further business to come before the board, the meeting was adjourned. Respectfully submitted, Rita Eckerman, Board Secretary.
Anybody have any? Well, I guess we'll have a motion to accept. That's what I'm looking
Yeah.
for.
I make a motion that we accept the executive session minutes
From March 9th, yes.
for March 9th.
Okay. Second?
I don't think I can. I wasn't
Oh,
there.
you weren't here. I guess you have to second it. Or I'll second it.
I was gonna say, I wrote them, I suppose I can second it.
Any other discussion? It's executive session, so we
Right,
really can't,
yeah.
so. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. That one back. Staff presentation.
The monthly run report for February, for March 2020, 12 fire calls, 47 EMS responses, 3 motor vehicle crashes, 9 lift assists, and 4 other assists, for a total of 75. Year-to-date for 2020, we've responded to 253 total calls, compared to 2019 at the same period, which was 247 calls. So we were a little bit behind, now we're 6 calls ahead of where we were last year.
Chief, I have a question for you. On the lift assist, is that just a general category that you put people into for?
Yes, we have lift assist, we have citizens assist. If your basement's flooding and you call us, that's a citizens assist, and so we go and help, correct any hazards that might be there. Lift assist is if I've fallen and I can't get up, somebody's got an issue, and then we do a report on it and then document it. So,
Yeah, I thought it was probably a category.
and the other assists, that could be anything from, I've got a cat stuck in a tree, or, there's one of those catch-all categories we have.
Fine.
Okay?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Tim,
Yeah.
I have something I would like to say, just back it up for a bit to the citizen participation
Oh, okay.
part. And, first, I want to thank the board very much for appointing me to this position. it's quite different being this way, sitting in the audience. you
Yeah.
know. But I will be just as active and ask just as many questions, which I'm sure
Good.
at times will irritate, but it's not meant to. And really, and I wanted to also say how proud I am of our department and our chief in doing what he's doing. I think it's really a great department, and we're on the right track. And I'm proud to be a portion of it.
Well, thank you.
So,
Yes, thank you.
We're happy to have you. So it's, a lot of times, you know, in the past, when we've had to fill vacancies, it's who can we beg to do it, you know?
right.
And it's nice to have someone who has demonstrated an interest over a period of years,
Yes,
repeatedly.
Yes.
So,
And
it's,
has somewhat idea of what's going on around here.
right, and yeah,
oh, I didn't mind being there for 3 years or so, you know, and asking and learning. You learn too.
oh,
So.
yeah.
Were you big?
Yeah.
So, do we have a volunteer report?
I'll defer to Mr. Knutson on that as the Vice President of the Volunteer
Get
Association.
off Facebook. Well, we're plugging away, we actually took a vote, we were gonna get rid of the fax machine that was in there. Me and Rhonda decided to head it up and go ahead and fill it back up again. And I haven't quite got the costs of it yet, but we are gonna have that back. And then we've been reorganizing and cleaning up upstairs and trying to honestly get that back as the volunteer space and the staff space. And Chief Mason's helping, you know, with that, trying to help us get organized a little bit more, so. We haven't been able to have an association meeting, we've been doing all of our votes via email, so. But we are getting all new recliners, and so that we get rid of those couches, move the TV around, make it more comfortable, maybe more inviting, maybe get some more volunteers.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
And
Eric.
I'll tie on to what Eric said, and I want to thank him, and that was going to be in my report later, but him and Rick Booth, they put in a lot of time finishing the walls to our office downstairs, and also the walls upstairs for the individual bunk rooms, and now Eric the group just completed the rooms for Pac West, so they have 2 individual rooms now too, so it makes it a little more conducive for the people staying there, it gives them a little privacy. For those that snore, then it won't be bothering the ones that don't. So.
Whatever happened with
A
the,
big shout out to Eric and the volunteers that have jumped in to help out with that.
excuse
And if
me,
anybody's good at taping and mudding, we're still,
Chief, whatever happened with Pac West saying that they would assist in financial with the upstairs?
I've reached out to Jeff with that, and I haven't bothered him anymore about it just because, and the same thing on the recliners and furniture and things. He said they would help out, but right now their call volume is down 30 to 40%, which means their revenues are down, so I didn't wanna push
Yeah.
too much on that. He knows it's, once things pick up, then I'll be recontacting him. But he assured me they would be more than happy to help out with something.
Yeah, no pressure on our side, no, I was just, something I remembered from the past.
Right. And if you recall originally, they were, I met with Jeff and JD, and they were willing to completely remodel the upstairs. It was gonna be $40,000 to $50,000 to do it, but with our lease coming up with the city, they were
Right.
not really willing to invest that amount of money for a 2-year return on that, so that's
Yeah.
kind of where we're at, so we're.
Understandable, yeah.
We're doing it on our own and making it not as nice as it could have been, but a lot better than it has been.
Yeah, okay.
Chief, how many bunks are upstairs?
Right now, they're not really bunks, they're individual rooms, 3 individual rooms for our people and individual beds and locker, and 2 individual rooms for the Pacific West room. From time to time, they'll have a third person with the Pac West crew, in which case we'll have a hide-a-bed or a rollaway bed or something, but that's whenever they're doing training or something.
Good.
Finance report.
The end of March of this year, we have $923,470 on hand. and which is 8% more than last year. That's looking pretty good. The taxes, receipt of the taxes for the previous and the current were $49,000 ahead of last year, which is a pretty good amount. I don't know what this year will be like with the coronavirus. Might be down. The vehicle repair, in the month of March and April, we've, this month also, $7,585, so we continue to have some pretty good sized bills for vehicles. We also paid Northwest Geotech for their phase 1 environmental study, $2,900.
Anybody have any questions for him?
No, I had a question on the receivables of the 10,235, but then when I looked further, I saw that that was the conflagration, so, for the exact amount, so that's where that's at, so. Other than that, it looked good, so.
Okay. And we're still holding some run fee receivables, I thought I saw somewhere?
There was one adjustment, but no, we're not holding any anymore.
Oh, okay, I thought I saw it somewhere.
Last year there was, we had to give back some money last year, and nothing this year. We don't have any this year
Okay,
at all.
good.
And last year, it's something to do with the insurance company and I didn't quite follow it, but it felt legit, so.
Insurance companies.
And they asked for some money back.
Okay, so do I have a motion to accept the finance report?
I make a motion that we accept the finance report.
Okay.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Motion to pay the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills since I signed them.
Okay,
Second?
second. Any other questions about that? Okay, motion, or all in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Correspondence?
I've handed out a few things to the board. I got an email this afternoon from special districts regarding budget hearings and meetings, and I honestly, I haven't read completely through, but I did email it out to you, so.
I have.
We're unfortunate, really. But we're not the only district that's gonna struggle. I mean, with our social distancing, and when we have 10 members on the budget committee, plus citizens that wanna participate, there's got to be some accommodations made, so.
So do you want a recap of what?
Well, yes, please.
Okay. Basically, the governor did allow for these meetings to be held electronically, by telephone or Zoom or whatever other means, as long as we provide for some method of citizen participation, which I'm assuming, we would certainly do. There is also a caveat in there, well, there's a couple of them. One is that we are permitted to do all of our publications electronically, as opposed to sending them to the newspaper. So this year at least, as long as they're displayed prominently, for instance, on our website. So as far as the LB forms and so on, we don't have to adhere to those time restrictions that we can possibly run into with the newspaper, getting it in on time and getting it published on time. The other thing that is in there is if for some reason we are not able to complete our budget process by the normal due date, there is an allowance for the entity to continue to operate under this year's budget, the current, most recently adopted budget, until such time as we can correct the situation. So, the drop dead of June 30th I'm assuming we probably will meet it, but that is in there for anyone who can't meet that for whatever reason. I know there was a rumor going around that, and actually it was not just a rumor, it was, if you were adhering to the statute, that if the budget process wasn't completed by July 1st, you'd have to close your doors and would not be able to operate. And that has been fixed, if you will. So, I'm not sure for us how we're going to end up doing it as far as electronically. If we are going to all meet in the room, in a room, we do have to maintain the social distancing and so on. So it may be a combination. The council meetings and so on are kind of, evolving that way as well. So that's my anticipation.
And actually, if we set up like we are here and then put our 2 tables there for our
Right.
5 citizens, then that would work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, and then we'll just make sure any audience that shows up has a couple chairs between them.
Well, actually,
Well, then we'd be at our
no,
maximum
we
just
will
with
hit
that.
our, we
Well,
will,
that's
we
true.
will
We'd
actually
already be
hit
over.
our maximum if everyone were to show up. So we may actually need to have 1 or 2 of us participate telephonically in order to maintain that.
10.
Yeah, the 10.
That number may be reduced, though. That number of 10 that's been chosen.
Well, it can be. There is an ORS that talks to that. As far as the body goes, we can have an equal number of lay people. We can't have more lay people than we do
Right.
board members.
Yeah.
But if we don't have the full number, we can still operate. If we can't find anyone who wants to serve, the board itself can be the budget committee, or with reduced number of lay people. So that, yeah. I think we have we have a couple of vacancies for the budget committee, correct?
Yeah, we do.
Well, we
Yeah.
have Peters for sure.
Right, Peters,
But
and then,
I contacted Mike Powell and George Gray and
Jovita Valentine.
Jovita and,
Robin had also,
Robin.
Said she was
Robin,
not-
she resigned.
right. So we have 2 vacancies,
So if we didn't fill those vacancies, that would put us right at the right number,
yeah.
and we'd still be legal.
Okay. I do have one option there for a person, but it's up to the board, if you want to leave it as it is.
Well, actually, if we have someone who is interested, we should consider that application because we,
Wasn't Joe Vandahay also on the budget committee?
Yes, it was.
Yes, he was, actually.
Okay, yeah, he would, so they're only one, well, no, we'd have to replace Peter and Robin, so.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So if we do have one, at least one individual who is interested, then we should consider that letter of interest or whatever and appoint them. Like I said, we can get around it by, 1 or 2 of us participating remotely, assuming that everybody can attend.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, other correspondence. I handed out information from special districts.
Yeah.
And then also I was hand-delivered a thank you card the other day that if it's okay with the chair, that I'll read it.
I think as long as we don't use any names, so we don't run into a HIPAA
Right.
situation.
Dear friends, in April,
Yeah.
at approximately such and such a time, you responded to a possible stroke victim at such and such address. The individual was my wife, and I will not mention her name. Your quick response, professional demeanor, and medical training was instrumental in saving her life. Further, as a result of your efforts, along with Lifeline, she suffered minimal damage to her brain. She is home now and recovering rapidly. From both of our hearts, we thank you. And I wasn't able to meet with him, but I did talk to him on the phone and to his wife, and they thanked us immensely, and thanks to the board. They're proud of our service, and according to them, the doctor said received her in a timely fashion over in the valley, where it said, had it not been for the rapid response and the rapid transportation, that she would have suffered significant and irreversible damage.
Yeah, I met with him also, and he said the same thing, so.
Yeah.
So that's, attaboys to all the troops that responded, and I'm proud of the team.
Are we allowed to mention the names of the
No.
medics? that-
Yeah, I think you could do the medics.
Yeah, yeah, well, that's it. Joe and Bob, they were.
You know, Joe, Bob, Tabitha, and
Chaplain?
Yeah, no, Rick wasn't there, but we had,
John Townley was on.
John Townley was on the call.
Yeah,
Yeah,
A lot of people down
Bob
here setting up
Persken, Joe Bartling, Tabitha. And then we had two Seal Rock people and some staff that set up the landing site over here at the old ball field.
Yeah.
Chief Mason, myself, and Landon all set up the LE.
So
Yeah.
it was a great team effort and a seamless operation. That's the way we like to see it go.
yeah, I'm really appreciative of the fact that our people got up there as quickly as they did and performed these life-threatening.
Oh, and for the record, it was Pacific West Ambulance asked if we could transport our team. I had a paramedic available, and so we did transport in the fire district's ambulance to the landing zone.
Chief, I have a question about this. In particular, the victim had to be taken from up in Tidewater all the way down to the field in town. Why was the helicopter not able to find a landing site upriver?
We have designated latitude and longitude, certain landing sites, but some of those we couldn't get to on that particular day. You know, and when we first designated these, which was several years ago, trees have overgrown and Lifeline was given all that information. We would tell them landing zone 3 or landing zone 5, but they've since their base manager has gone elsewhere, and so they don't have that information anymore. So we're in the process of upgrading all that.
Good.
I'm also looking at a site in your subdivision down off of
Bain, or Johnson?
yeah, Johnson Way and Bain. There's a big open lot there, and that we're gonna try to get the property owners okay. And is that you?
Yeah.
Hey, Dave.
Right next to him, though.
It's
And
the,
ultimately, what I'd like to do, and when we have bad car crashes on 34, I can't even get a helicopter to land on the highway. Lots of times, you know, on 101, you can land on the highway with between the river embankment and the trees overhanging and the hills, they can't land there.
Yeah.
And lots of places use fire stations as a landing zone. Well, we don't have a place at Tidewater Station we can land. We don't have a
Not
place
yet.
at we don't have a place at the Five River Station that we can land.
well, that property, will never have anything built on it, but we need to have some trees removed, so maybe we can get some assistance having the trees removed.
We can do that, and ultimately, what I've done in a previous life was designate, you know, get with property owners, designate a site and actually asphalt a pad and you know, put a big, you know, identification so they can see it from the air easy enough, and so then, and just keep it cleared out.
Yeah, it's a drain field, so I don't think that we could put a cement pad there. I don't think, I'm not sure.
I don't think it's over
Yeah.
Greenfield.
Yeah,
But yeah, as long as it's, you know.
but anyway, yeah, it's available, so.
Okay, perfect.
I definitely think it's a good idea to have designated spots at
Find
the
that
river.
property owner. I hear he's a real no good.
Probably gonna want an
Well,
arm and
it's
a
not-
leg.
He'll never work with us.
I could tell it was I was listening and I could tell it was a new pilot because they had to talk him in. He flew right over the top of them. Now, where are you at now?
Well, and
Turn
that's-
around,
and
come
that-
back.
And that was part of the problem too, because there were some communications issues. What's a landmark to us, and I'm the new kid here, you know, but what's a landmark to us is not a landmark to somebody in a helicopter.
Right.
You know, go to Red's old barn house and turn right. Well, that means nothing to people. the old high school ball field. Well, they hear high school football field, so they flew towards the high school.
Yeah, they're looking
Yeah.
for a grandstand.
They're looking for,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Stripes.
So,
Yeah.
and we had that worked out before with Life Flight, but they're in the transition now. Troy moved to California, took another job, and so they're searching for a base manager. Dustin is actually filling in for that position right now.
Yeah, the only reason I mention it is that in this particular case, you lost all the time going from upriver to downtown.
Well, it's true, and I had the same talk with Jeff Mathia with Pacific West. He thanked us for doing it, but he said, why couldn't they have landed closer? So I explained to him the same thing. And I said, now there are a couple pastures, further east from where they were, that they could, but then it's, okay, do we drive 7 miles east to get to a pasture that we hope we can get through the fence and get to, or do we
Hopefully,
go back to
yeah.
where we know it's open?
And you hope it's not so saturated that
Yeah,
you can drive on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, the ongoing challenge we have here is with the osprey nest.
Oh,
And the mother osprey made some attacks at the helicopter even the other day when they came in. So
Where is that nest located?
it's on the.
it's on the pole, it's on the pole in the middle of the football field.
Yeah, which is, if the board recalls, we had this issue at the last Beachcomber days when we were
Right.
doing a demonstration. The helicopter made a couple approaches, and then I heard a power, and the command, we're gonna be aborting our mission. I'll contact you later. Well, Mother Osprey kept coming at the helicopter, and so they took evasive action, over-torqued their engine to get away from her, and then we're out of service for several hours waiting for an FAA mechanic to come over from the valley to recertify the engine.
that's right.
So we want to avoid that if possible.
So how do you say osprey again?
Osprey,
Oh, okay.
what do you think I said? Is this another statute?
Just curious how you say it.
Kevin, we are on TV.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So there is also a letter from ISO in the board pack?
I was gonna do that in my chief's report, but I can certainly do it now.
Well, I was gonna say, they also used to land, a couple of big pastures right around the 4.5, 5 mile
Yeah,
marker, and they have landed there in the past.
Yeah, and there's a pasture down across from Rainbow Road, down right along the river that we can access.
Yeah. But that's, another one, as you're rebuilding the list, those ones right about 5 miles, they've used, because if you don't go down too close to the river, they're relatively dry most of the year, as long as they're not full of elk.
Exactly.
And can you can you hit flares or whatever, so it's easier to find the landing zone, or?
Yeah, we have LED lighting, because you don't, if we put a regular flare out, especially during fire season with the rotovars and stuff, then your potential for starting a wildfire. Things with the rotovars, it doesn't snow here, but if you're trying to land in snow, you can't, it blinds the pilot, so we have to wet it down before they can land. To keep the snow from blowing up. Same thing with dust, like a ball field, if you're landing on the infield, you start blowing up dust, you have problems there, you have to wet that down. So there's some things that go into it. And if those that, well, I think everybody's got the active 911, we've got mapping in there, if it'll pull up. And we got, if you go to the map portion, it pulls up fire hydrants.
Yeah.
We got every fire hydrant designated. If you also scroll in a little closer, you'll see it's got landing zones. The ball field landing zone, it says LZ there, and if you click on that, it gives you the exact address and the latitude and longitude. So we can access that and say, okay, here's, it's landing zone 1, it's latitude this, longitude that. But as we get further upriver,
No cell service.
Yeah, we don't have the service in Canton.
My mapping.
That's why we've designated it before.
It's cool. I've never played with that part of it.
Yeah, that's, our staff's put a lot of work into that with the fire hydrants. It'll show you what, where the hydrant's located. You click on it, tells you whether it has a 4-inch storage connection or 2.5-inch discharges. And eventually, once we get all the hydrant flow tests done, it'll show you how many gallons per minute that particular hydrant flows.
Alrighty.
So anyway, ISO, because we're still on correspondence, I guess. I met with David Highland, well, I met with him off and on since I've been here, and he had been working with Dustin on our ISO. As the board recalled, he came to visit, and we had some challenges with our Five River station, the lack of electricity there. But David emailed, or I received in the mail, and then I contacted him and I emailed it out to you, but our previous rating was a Class 6 within a 5-mile radius of the city of Waldport, and a Class 8B, is that correct, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
Tidewater and all that area. 1 being the best rating, 10 being the worst rating. We were lacking in a few things, but I sent him an email, he called me up, and I said, okay, let me clarify this. He said, well, based on your ability to haul water and deliver water to the non-hydrated areas, your fire district has improved from a Class 6 to a Class 5 throughout the entire district. So, in talking to my insurance agent that I know pretty well, he said that should make a pretty good difference on the homeowners' insurance rates for the people in outside of the 5-mile radius of Walport that were originally rated at the Class 8.
Chief, you're to be congratulated, in pulling this off, because that makes a huge difference in the cost of the insurance.
And I hope it does, Peter, and I thank you for thanking me, and I want, thank you to all the staff, because this has been a team effort all the way, and everybody's worked hard, making sure and the board has been supportive with us buying our equipment and making sure all the apparatus is equipped properly with everything that the insurance service office requires, and so it's been a struggle, but I'm pretty happy with where we're at, and with our partnership with Seal Rock and our staffing improving, I'm confident that we could improve on that, but they don't come around every year. So I talked to him, he said, if you do a few things here, you're very close to a Class 4 rating within 5-mile radius of Walport.
Excellent.
And it also then reaches out to our 5-mile radius of Walport. So even the Bayshore area and in that area will receive this rating as well.
Yeah, with a lot of companies, if there aren't hydrants with that 8B rating, everyone got an 8B, even if they were within 5 miles of the station, if there were not hydrants. So that puts you anything beyond Ekman Lake, basically, because that's where the hydrants stop, Nelson Wayside. So it'll make a big difference. You're dropping three numbers from an 8 to a 5. It's, depending on the company, can be a 30% drop.
Wow,
That would be huge.
Yeah.
that is huge.
So, and it comes at a good time because one of our levies is up for renewal in 2021.
Which one is that?
That's the bigger of the two
The
levies.
staffing one, yeah.
Oh, is it the staffing one, not the equipment one?
No, the equipment one's 10-year.
Oh, it was a 10-year, not a 5-year?
The two, and so what I want to be able to prove to the public and say, look, we're not asking for more money, but here's what we've done in the last 5 years, just help us to continue to help you. And I feel like we can sell that as long as we keep moving forward and doing positive things.
I'm gonna do everything I can.
Okay, any updates on Tidewater?
Geotech?
Geotech, the information you got me from Gary Nias and what I completed and sent to him, he acknowledged that he received it, and, it must be getting close because we got the invoice.
Yeah, I heard we had a $2,600 bill.
Yeah. So we should be getting a final report from him.
Okay, good.
It's 2,900.
Oh, yeah.
Any new business?
No.
Okay. And chief report.
Now, some of this I've already covered, is the board quite aware, we've got the ongoing COVID-19 things going on, all of the meetings that I normally attend, well, there's even more meetings now, but we're doing them telephonically, and either go to meeting or just call into the 800 number, and getting briefings 3 times a week from the state fire marshal's office or the health authority, and with our local fire defense board, just to try to stay up on top of things, and then as I get more information that I can release out, then I keep the board informed. We're to meet the guidelines, if you come into the fire station, especially if you're working a shift, we take your temperature when you come in, you log in, and then it's taken twice a day. Once when you arrive at work, and then when you leave, or when you come to the station and then you leave.
Do you take it with like an infrared gun type deal?
The one that goes in the ears.
Oh,
The Technic one.
And what temperature are you looking for, or not?
Just in any elevated, anything above, well, anything over 100.
Right.
101.
Okay.
But then you read some of the information they're coming out with now, you know, the asymptomatic people, those without symptoms, might not even be running a fever, but could still be a carrier, so it's,
Yeah.
so it's kind of a moving target there, but we're complying with that. We've got the appropriate amount of personal protective equipment that we're carrying, and, when we respond in, if it's a dispatch is gathering as much information as they can, that you probably hear or see, you know, no COVID or possible COVID, and if that's the case, if the ambulance gets there first, one of their people put the full gown, gloves, eye protection on, go in and check the patient, and then if the patient can ambulate and walk outside, then they walk them outside. If not, if it's a cardiac arrest or something, then everybody goes in with full protective equipment, and we provide emergency care.
So how would you determine if, because I see some of the calls, you know, difficulty breathing, that kind of stuff. How do you determine whether it's COVID or not?
Your educated guess is what, you know,
Okay.
so are you running a fever, or you know, how long has this been happening, you know, and so we check for the obvious signs of things, and then when in doubt, you know, we're gonna err on the side of caution and make sure our personnel are protected.
Okay.
And you're putting every patient in a mask.
Yes,
Anyway.
oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I missed, yeah, the first person that goes in puts a mask on the patient, because that's gonna be your source of
Transmission,
infection.
right.
And disbursement of any germs.
Okay.
So put the mask on the patient, and then walk them out, and that equally protects our people. And we also, that I won't get into to be too morbid, but we have protocols for deceased individuals as well, how we handle that and work with the mortuary services.
Art, that's a question I had, and maybe you don't know, but when someone just, you know, spouse wakes up and this other spouse has passed, are they testing them post-mortem?
That, I don't know, and that's a question I can ask with the county health department. They're on our phone calls every time but if there's an indication that they might be, then they would test them.
You'd think for statistics, that would be a good, yeah.
Yeah, I would think just anybody who died outside of the hospital,
Sure.
but that's, you know, I know
Well,
they're
and
short
may
of
also be based
tests
on
and
the
stuff.
number of tests available too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then unfortunately, I think that's skewing some of the numbers they have on
Right.
the number of COVID victims. And, okay, somebody is killed in a car crash, but they tested positive for the COVID virus. Oh, well, they didn't die from COVID.
Right,
Right.
but there's still a positive test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one other thing, because I saw it, probably on TV, but it was so different from my days. Do you guys routinely let, like, a cardiac patient walk out of the house now? If they're, I mean, back in my day,
No,
you didn't even let them stand up.
Yeah, cardiac, we don't want them to overexert themselves in any way.
Right,
This COVID-19's kind of put a different spin on that. If they're already up walking around, then okay, put this mask on, walk out here, you know, it's not gonna get any worse. But if they're lying in bed having severe crushing chest pain, then we're gonna go in and do what we normally do.
I just didn't know if the rules had changed over the years and
No,
that.
it's still the same thing.
You know?
You don't want them putting additional exertion on their
Right.
heart.
That's what I thought, but.
See, you remembered well, Tim.
Oh, well, it's just from what I've seen, you know, watching the, live rescue on Monday nights. They're routinely having heart patients stand up and walk out of a room into wherever the cot is, or, I mean, nobody walked anywhere. They didn't even stand up on their
You
own.
think back early in the day when you were working and I was working ambulance, well, I'm still working ambulance, but
Yeah,
trauma victims, you know, mechanism of injury, I mean, everybody got a cervical collar and got put on a backboard. Now,
it's true, yeah.
if they're, because I've got people that were sitting in the back of a patrol car that had neck pain, well, you're gonna get a collar and a backboard.
Yeah,
And now, if they've been walking around, well, go walk to the ambulance, we'll set you on the stretcher, and then we'll take you in and get you checked out.
yeah, I made so many people ride to Newport on that god-awful uncomfortable board in my day.
So it's,
Then the doctor in the ER just takes the collar off and says, oh, you're all right.
and unfortunately, you know, that's how things evolve, but, you know, as well, we're getting err on the side of caution, make sure
Oh, yeah.
that we don't wanna jeopardize or, take a risk of severing their spinal cord and paralyzing them, and now, 30 years later with all the studies, and they say, you know, if they're gonna be paralyzed, it's gonna be when you get there, you know, from the initial injury, not anything that you do,
Yeah, it's not that easy to
Yeah.
sever that.
which is good to know, but
Yeah,
like I said, you know, how many people did and they laid on a backboard waiting for x-rays or else.
I had one lady spent 2.5 hours on a backboard.
Well, it's one of those, ma'am, does your back hurt? Well, it didn't when they put me on it, but it does.
We were far enough up, we had to take her to Corvallis, and the Corvallis ER was just jam-packed with people, and we couldn't even take her off our cot. They didn't have a bed for her, so we just had to sit there with her for 2 hours. And I felt bad.
Probably not as bad as she did.
Probably not.
Yeah, let the record show.
Okay, so does that cover all your bases?
No, sir, I'm just getting started.
Boy.
Okay.
Let's
back
see,
now.
Assistant Chief Mason and I have been, we scheduled me with the Seal Rock Fire Board again. We met with them after our last board meeting, and they answered questions they had. They signed the intergovernmental agreement, and now we've moved forward with that. We're working more closely together. Chief Sakaris, we set up Monday meetings at 1 o'clock. Or at 9 o'clock in the morning, we meet and go over, okay, how are things going, anything we need to tweak and fix, and so it's going well. We've drafted some operational guidelines that doesn't really involve the boards. It's just something that Chief Sakaris and I will agree to and make happen, and then if there's some concern about it, then we'll bring it to the oversight committee as opposed to bringing it back to both boards, and that streamlines the process too.
Good.
Chief, this is basically then an integration process?
No, we formalized what we've already been doing. We've been responding to their calls, been responding to help us, but what we're formalizing is their one staff member and our staff member will work together and respond as a team, no matter where the call is. And so it formalized the agreement, and it helps insurance-wise just to make sure, you know, the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted.
What will be the next step?
This is a test drive. And then if things work well, then we move forward, and which we're providing, they're coming to all our trainings now, Assistant Chief Mason doing training, well, when we can get together and train, we've had to cancel our Burn to Learn and some other things, but, we're sharing out those resources, our Active 911, our online learning system that we, subscribe to, that.
I'm glad to see this integration. I
Right,
think
and it's the first step, you know, if you have consultants come in, they're gonna tell you, okay, do it this way first, and then move forward, and then ultimately, you know, after the test drive, okay, how can we make this better?
I think it's a good deal for both of us.
Well, Chief and I have lunch usually the day of board meetings, just to go over the agenda and see, and I was trying to remember, there was something that we were talking about that I thought about after the fact, and,
Well,
it's a big, I mean, having two guys on a call is a huge safety issue, as opposed to one responding to everything.
Better or
Plus,
worse?
Better, from a lot of different standpoints. You know, because if you're the first one on scene of an accident and someone seems to be badly injured, you're gonna wanna dive right in there and help them, where maybe the scene's not as safe as it needs to be before anyone tries to climb in a car. So you've got a backup there.
Or even a medical call, you know, and, well, you know,
CPR.
somebody's hurt their arm, or, you know, you got injured. Well, what you don't know is when you get there, well, there's an assailant still on the scene. Well, when you have two people, you've got a little more protection than you do.
Yeah.
So,
Or with, you know, we see a lot of calls on the dispatch app for EDP, which is emotionally disturbed person. And you never know what you're gonna get when you
There's
get
a
to one
lot
of
of
those.
them here.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it's someone who's just, you know, they're out there and they're happy and go lucky. But sometimes they can turn on you in an instant.
Yes.
I mean, I've walked in and been talking to some people, and everything's hunky-dory, and then we say, okay, well, let's get you on the cot, and the next thing you know, they've got a gun in their hand. You're not taking me out of this house, and out the door you go.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Right.
it's a win-win all the way around. At
You're in
least,
charge.
We know when the tones go off, two people are gonna go out the door, and whether it's in Seal Rock or whether it's in our district, to respond to the call initially. So.
I think it's a really good idea at some point in the future for consolidation. I mean, I know it's not set in stone, but it looks good.
Oh, yeah, exactly, and like I said, Peter, this is the first step, and then there's lots of other, I mean, there's ballot issues and everything else that you talk consolidation, you have to have a ballot issue to dissolve both districts, form a new district, and then fund the new district, and so there, I mean, there's other ways to do it before that, but we're working.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Let's see, we started our weekly staff meetings, we have it Mondays at 1 PM, and that's, Assistant Chief Mason, I sit down with the on-duty crew and whatever volunteers are there, and just kind of outline the upcoming week, what we have going on. The Burn to Learn, I told you that was canceled due to, I didn't think it would look good, we'd tell people don't congregate, and then we'd have 2 or 3 fire departments, people standing around with their air packs on, and that doesn't send the right message.
The good news is he spent some time cleaning up all the brush around that, so.
Well, good, well, eventually, we'll, when we're able to, we will be burning it, so.
Yeah.
Is that location here in town?
It's out east of town,
Okay.
just right on 34. We had the 5th Tuesday, historically, we have our volunteer potluck dinner, well, we canceled that. Something else I sent out to the board, received a letter from from the law firm we used about the special rules manual. So I don't know if we wanted to renew that and update it, because what year was it?
2006, you say here?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's 2006, and so they'll do a complete update the 2020 for $700.
Seems like that would make sense.
Yeah, I think it just.
14 years old.
Yeah, I think
And
it's about time.
especially if we get an updated rules manual, if we ended up in court for whatever reason, they're gonna say, wait a minute.
You haven't updated this for 14 years.
2006, apparently you're not too concerned about this. So if the board wants me to do that, we will get that done.
I don't think we need a vote on that, so.
No, it's within your authority to
Yeah,
spend
it
that money,
is.
so.
But we highly recommend you do.
Oh, yeah, affirmative. Let's see.
Is that a normal amount?
Yeah, oh, actually, that's extremely
cheap.
Seems pretty
inexpensive.
cheap for lawyer fees of any kind.
Yeah,
so-
yeah,
Yeah.
that is money well spent.
Okay.
Yeah, if you hired an attorney to write one for you, you're talking
Oh,
thousands. No.
yeah.
Well, I talked to an attorney about a trust, and it's $2,000 just to do a trust. So
Yeah.
700 seems pretty cheap.
And I'll defer to Brett on this, but we need to transfer money from one line item to another line item in order, you see the new chief mobile is here with the lights and sirens and the extended bed and the canopy and everything's installed on it. The radios were ordered the same time all this other items were ordered, and they are back ordered because Kenwood radios apparently are made in China. But we're gonna go ahead and get it lettered and move forward with that, but this was budgeted in last year's budget. And it was ordered and everything was ordered, but obviously we got past July 1, we got the new budget, and I totally overlooked adding that amount of money into this year's budget. So we got funds we can reallocate. Brett, I'm not sure, the cardiac monitor defibrillator, did we already move that one to 28,700?
No.
Okay, so if we're not gonna buy that this year, we bought one last year, so if I had the board's approval, we'll transfer that from that account to the.
Well, as long as is it within either capital outlay or materials and services already, both of those?
So, under the equipment reserve fund.
Ah, okay.
How much we talking?
I haven't got all the invoices in, it's about 22,000, I think, but, and unfortunately, what I presented to the board before that you approved in July, the prices on radios have gone up, that, everything else has gone up to the extended bid, but it's, should be less than, I think the radios are $10,000, and then the work this company did was 19,000.
But both those items were in equipment, the equipment
Right.
reserve?
They were in the previous budget
In
year.
the previous budget year, yeah. That's appropriate then.
Is that actually like,
Yeah, yeah.
considered like a carryover?
It's appropriate,
Okay.
yeah. Do you need a formal motion? or-
Brett, what do we need on that, or is that,
I need to do a resolution.
oh, okay.
That's what I,
If you
yeah,
want
'cause-
to-
Yeah,
if you want to hold
right,
it until
yeah,
next-
yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, we'll just consider that at our next meeting.
Okay, but yeah, so you're
Yeah.
not, I'm not pulling a rabbit out of
Right.
my hat surprising you next time.
Right.
Right.
And I should have the invoices in by then, hopefully. The ongoing challenge with the Five Rivers generator.
What's the latest on that?
I can't believe it.
It's all mounted, the only thing we don't have is a propane hooked up to it.
Right, and now the propane's hooked up to it.
Okay.
Well, the propane.
Can't.
So,
Listen to
okay.
him.
You're stuttering.
I'm keeping myself from cursing, Mr. Brooks, and what I'm doing.
I'm waiting for the spittle to say.
Dumb old me, I thought, okay, propane line, right? So I'll get a gas line, it's like hooking up my gas grill or anything else. No, I have to have a licensed plumber run the appropriate gas line through the wall, through the generator, which has been done now. But then he didn't have the correct adapter to go to the generator.
Well, no, it's all hooked up to the generator with valve and shut-off valve, everything's appropriate. But because it's a stationary bottle, there's a special fitting. It's not like your typical barbecue 5-gallon.
Right.
Oh.
fitting. So you have to get that from, in our case, Co-Energy.
Oh, so it's one on the tank
It's
itself?
literally this far apart.
Yeah,
Okay,
Oh,
so
that-
it's,
so we just have to get the fitting.
right, well, and John and Eric they're on top of it.
Okay.
They got it handled. And I talked to Joe and he said, just let me know, and he said he'll go, once the gas is there, he'll fire up his generator, make sure everything works.
Good.
And then I'll get a video of it and send it to the ISO guy so he's happy.
Chief, in regards to that generator, does it have remote capabilities, or how is it turned on?
It's gonna be done manually at this point. We're trying to figure out a way to hook a timer up to it so it'll run and then.
Exercise.
Exercise,
Yeah.
yeah.
it has it does have a timer built into it.
Oh, it does?
The generator itself.
Yes, so as soon as we get propane, get the battery charged in it, we can program it to say, come on every Tuesday.
Oh,
you would run.
Right, and it'll
Great.
keep the battery charged.
Well, and I'm glad to know that because that's what Joe and I weren't sure of because we're trying to figure out, okay, how do you get an electric timer if you don't have electricity?
Well, you have batteries and the
Right.
generator
So-
recharges
so
the batteries.
As long as that's there, then
Right.
we'll program it to run once a day for X number of minutes and then that.
Only once a week, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
as long as it keeps the batteries,
Right.
charged up and,
You have to restart it tonight.
15 minutes, because
Yeah.
that's how long the bank one comes on right outside my window every Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock.
That's how long the pump station one goes on over here, too.
Well, your dads and moms too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost never there when that goes off.
Yeah.
and that's all I got.
No?
Scott packs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thanks, Dave. Yeah, that was, the board approved to buy 8 self-contained breathing apparatus, 2 months ago, I think it was, or meeting before last. And so I went back to the vendor and, said, okay, I'm ready to buy 8 of these, and, oh, well, chief, sorry, that price we gave you, that's an old price, because the price has changed. And, okay, what are they now? I said, okay, well, I want 8 of them. Well, but that's only good for 16 of them, because the quantity, it's, okay, and I went into some, I said, well, then I'll look elsewhere. Well, to be standard with the Scott air packs that we're using, I don't wanna switch over. We like the Scots, that's what everybody's trained on. So, what I'd rather do, and, instead of buying 8 now and then trying to wait another year and buying 8 more, and that something might change on for firefighter safety, I'd rather get 16 of them now. I reached out to Jana off with Government Capital and provided you their quote on financing. The first year's free, or you don't have to pay for the first year, so then we can actually budget for this next budget year. And the finance, I forget what the interest rate there is, Kevin, but
3.98.
is that
How much are these per unit, roughly?
about $8,000 a unit?
So would you do it in 3 payments or 2 payments?
Probably 2. We do, and we can stretch it out over 3 too. It really doesn't mean that'll give us enough to fully equip all the trucks that we need, and then keep some of them ones we have now as reserve packs if we need it. We
This is gonna be a monthly payment then?
Annual.
Annual
we
payment?
can do it monthly. Would probably save us a little money because the balance would be going down. But these are annual payments that she quoted.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
3 payments or 2 payments.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, $8,000 a piece, and you want 16 of them? That's
Do we
big.
need 16 of them?
That's a big
Seems like a
chunk of
lot.
money.
Yeah.
Well, in order to get that price, we have to get
Yeah,
16
well,
of them.
and for ISO
If we get less, then
purposes-
we'll pay more.
For ISO purposes, every engine pumper that we have has to have 4 SCBA's on it. And we have 4 of those. So that's our number 16.
And we would have bought the other 8 next year anyway.
Right.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because the board already approved the first 8, and I thought, well, okay, I'll tell them, hey, I'm gonna buy 8 now, and then July 1st, and I'll get 8 more. Well, no, unless you order 16, at least 15, you're not gonna get. So, yeah, crap.
Is this the only vendor for Scott?
Yes, they have protected territories.
Figures.
And what I'm able to tie on to is a bid for Portland. And otherwise, we wouldn't get this cheap.
And then how long will these last?
15 years. So if you amortize it out over 15 years, that's not bad.
And you said we have a total of 30 of them?
We have 30 right now that I acquired. If you remember, I got these from Clackamas because they replaced all of theirs. They had 100 and some of them. And I got 30 of theirs and a spare bottle, and so, and then I'll keep those because we can use those as training packs and,
We got a pretty good deal on that, didn't we?
it was free.
they were free.
Yeah, it was a really good deal.
But all the bottles are expired, so we
Yeah,
have to buy
right.
all new bottles.
Yeah,
Right.
all the bottles, and that's the other thing, all the bottles, there's a 15-year life on the composite bottles, according to the Department of Transportation. So you have to replace all those. The bottles, what's it say, the bottles sort of cost 900 or,
$9.98.
yeah, $9.98 a piece. So I need to buy 60 new bottles now, or buy new air packs with new bottles, and then,
And then just replace the other bottles, yeah.
Can those bottles be recertified?
no.
That's just,
They're-
that's it?
They're composite, they're
Oh,
Yeah,
fiberglass.
Yeah,
I see.
they're wrapped fiberglass, and if you get, when we used to use aluminum bottles or steel bottles, as long as you hydrostatically
Yeah.
tested them,
yeah.
aluminum bottles for every 3 years, the steel bottles for every 5 years. As long as you test them, you can use them as long as you want to, but there's such a weight difference, and everybody's gone, again, for firefighter fatigue, it's gone with you can't even buy steel bottles anymore.
Yeah.
So they've gone with the composite bottles, and there, of course, there's a outdate on those, because they say, well, they're composite, and, they're only good for 15 years, so. So that's, my question, I was.
So,
And,
So-
and the other thing, sorry, Dave.
Yep.
Tim, I mentioned this to him at lunch, and he said, well, check with special districts, I think, maybe they do some financing and things, so I shot an email off to them, and they said, we don't do it, but we have several different banks and, financial institutions we deal with, so I told him what we're looking at, and he said, I'll get you he said, I'll look at what you've got, and I'll get you a quote back next week on this, and see if we can help you out and beat the rates that you were giving us.
so, two things. One, 2 payments of 53,000 is 106. Divide that by 16 is $6,600 each for the units.
Right.
Okay, 3 payments at 36,021 is 108. You're only gonna spend $2,000 more by making 3 payments instead of 2
Oh, and I'm
payments.
perfectly fine with that. And I just wanted both options.
No,
Right.
I'm just saying that it might be smarter to make 3 payments.
It'd be easier. to-
And,
Well-
but that's a,
I guess that, as long as we have the option, it's nice to have the option. If we have the money to do it in 2 payments, we can do it in 2 payments.
Correct.
And then if we don't, we could do it in 3 payments,
I'll bet you
so.
if we
Yeah,
agree on
but-
3, we gotta pay it in 3. If we agree on 2,
Yeah,
we're probably
they're
gonna
gonna
pay it
write
in
it
2,
up.
because they're
Right.
gonna write it up
right,
depending on
Yeah.
their
yeah.
income. Yeah.
And my only thought there, Dave, I said, well, with the levy coming up in 2021, I said, yeah, maybe I better get a quote for 2
2
years.
payments,
Right.
yeah,
And 3 years.
right.
Okay, I'm just giving the option there.
Yeah, because I don't want to assume a debt that then all of a sudden we don't have the money paid that
Right.
3rd year.
But that's an operations levy, and this would go under our 10-year serial levy for the equipment.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I would
It
just-
would.
Because it's over 10 years lifespan,
Right.
then it's
Then
long-term
it's under-
equipment.
yeah.
So that's, whatever the board's
Yeah.
pleasure is, but we do need it.
Well, since you aren't gonna be getting any quotes from special districts until next week, I think maybe what we could do is approve moving ahead with whatever,
With
with the
appropriate-
best rate,
With the appropriate financing.
with the appropriate financing rather than with this specific package.
Okay.
Now, the one thing I do remember, after I brought that up, I started thinking about, and I don't know if we'd finished it off by the time you came along or not, but when we tried to buy out of that flex lease
Right.
through which special
Yeah,
district
I
set up
remember
for
that,
us.
yeah.
It took us 2 years to get out of that thing.
Right.
Yeah, you didn't complete it till I'd already started.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we paid it right off before the special election.
Me and Brett
Well, we'll
tried
just
to
have
get
to make sure that
any
we don't have
information
any
we can
language
get
like
anything
that in
out
the
of them, so.
contract.
And I believe that was
That
through
was rough.
Bank of America.
US Bank, yeah, me and Brett went, I
Well,
mean,
that- yeah,
probably
it was
20
tied to
emails deep and we didn't get
vehicle.
anywhere with these people, so.
Well, that and you could only do it at certain times of the year.
Right.
We had to wait till like mid-December before we could opt out or something like that. It was.
So before we sign on the dotted line, we need to review it.
Well, when I get the terms and quotes and everything for special districts, then I'll shoot it to Dave and Kevin.
That'll work.
Kevin being our banker, Dave being our treasurer of the board,
Yeah,
and then let
That's,
them look it over.
yeah.
the money
Chief,
guys.
Are any of these air packs ever considered what you would get from, let's say, grants? Are they ever
Yes,
considered?
last year I put in for, 225,000 for 30 of these and 60 bottles. But we were unsuccessful with the grant.
But it's possible, though.
It is, but it's super competitive.
I see.
It's, every grant that comes up, I apply for, and Assistant Chief Mason's been successful with grants. But we've been good getting some grants, but,
We've got some good
you know,
ones.
the.
Yeah, we have
But
been
this
very
is necessary
successful in the last
equipment,
few
and we
years.
don't really
Yeah.
wanna wait for,
We've been really
No.
lucky.
And the,
No.
because we applied last year to replace SCBA's. I showed the need, but then every fire department in the country is doing the same thing.
yeah.
Yeah. I always like the idea of other people's money.
Oh, yeah, we all do, but, you
Yeah.
know, sometimes we just have
Seems like
to,
we always have some
Bite the
expense
bullet.
that comes along that we can put in.
Well,
our
you know, if we
line
have the
item,
opportunity to
so-
apply for a grant, we can always get additional ones, you know, because we do have,
Like we did on that last one, because we bought them in a year, within a
Right,
year,
and
they
I
let us
was just gonna mention that,
backdate
because
it.
I've been in touch with, the USDA people where we got the $100,000 for our power rescue tools and assorted equipment. And they've got money available again, so I'm filling out paperwork for them. I told her what we're doing. She said, oh yeah, that would fit our criteria. So if you can go ahead and, you don't have to wait on our grant, you can purchase these, and then if you're awarded the grant, then just show us the pay
You can
receipt.
just pay for them.
yeah,
Oh, good.
So.
yeah.
But didn't we already approve, so if we already budgeted for 8 of them,
Well, we didn't, but you approved 8, and I was gonna have to shuffle money to pay for those, so.
so it wasn't in the budget.
No.
So
Right.
that's the
Right.
positive of
Yeah.
financing it, okay.
But it will have to be in our next budget.
Next 2 budgets or 3.
Yeah.
But it costs what it costs to be a fire department, unfortunately.
Well, and then lots of times I've had boards, like power rescue tools or, rescue airbags. Well, chief, how many times would you use this? Well.
We have to use it once.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
not that many times, but if you need it, that's what you need.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had a city manager at one time said, well, why do you need 10 of these automatic AEDs on the fire trucks? And I explained early defibrillation, and well, chief, can't you just, why if I approve 3 of them, and then you decide where to put them? I said, no, Mr. Mays, I'm not gonna do that. If you're only gonna approve 3, then you tell me where to put them, because essentially you're telling me the people's lives in this part of town are more important than people's lives in that part of town.
Yep.
And I explained early defibrillation. Okay, Jesus Christ, we'll leave it in the budget. So the guy said, what's a human life worth to you? Well, apparently about 200,
yeah. So do you,
Sorry
so,
to ramble there, but that's.
so do you want a motion then to the effect of, having you proceed with the purchase of
Proceed
the,
with the purchase and the.
upon approved financing?
Financing.
Yeah, with the appropriate, financing terms.
You definitely.
I'll make that motion.
Want to defer.
Catch that?
Yeah, just write it up, she won't.
Second.
You definitely want to defer these payments out, though.
Yes, so
Yeah.
I don't have the money.
Yeah, we aren't
Oh,
budget,
yeah.
we haven't budgeted for the payments yet, those will be in the next
And
budget.
we don't, and even next budget year that we've got the draft budget completed, we don't have $120,000 to buy them out of next year's budget.
Yeah. Well,
Hopefully-
and I was thinking, we bought an ambulance with that
The flex fee?
flex lease.
Yes.
But it seems to me like the interest rate on that one was less than 2%.
Yeah, it was
If I remember, it was
almost
pretty
nothing,
low.
yeah.
So, it's worth waiting to see what they come back
Well,
with.
yeah, absolutely,
Right.
and I have borrowed money in the past, and at special districts, lots of times, in municipal loans, you can get 1 point below prime.
And
like
prime's zero.
Like zero, so, the.
Banks are
I
giving away,
don't think we're
banks are
gonna
giving away
offer
money
a
right
negative
now.
interest rate. No offense, Jimmy, you're a pretty good guy, but I don't think you're gonna get negative interest rate.
I'll tell you about that financing sometime.
Come, get your loan from us. We'll pay you $10,000 to borrow our money.
Well, at that time, our CDs with the fire district, we were getting 5.25% on the
Oh,
CDs.
yeah.
That tells you how
Good
long.
lord.
We
Yeah.
had 5.25 on our CDs, and I was able to secure $3 million from a bank for replacing our fleet and things at a rate of 2.3%, I think it was.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
You can't even make money at 2.3.
So I think there's a motion on the floor.
Yeah, well, this was discussion,
Okay.
so. Okay, so any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You,
Yeah, I don't think I actually have anything extra. I mean, I was pretty proud of the way you guys handled that call, or these guys handled that call. I sat down there and watched them, and, and then seeing our ambulance come down the river. I mean, I knew it was coming because I heard it on the radio, but I just love seeing that thing traveling down the road with its lights flashing, so.
And it's refreshing. I'm extremely proud of the staff, and we've got volunteers that are staying at the station, and
Yeah.
you'll hear the trucks. There's still kind of a training issues that, say, engine 78201's responding with 2, or with 3, or with 4, because when it's going out the door, in the last week, it's gone out the door on calls, had 4 people on the engine, and I still had myself and 2 other people at the station, so that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And it's awesome, like he said, to see the ambulance go out, because, it wasn't going out for a while, so it's nice
Well,
to have
and-
that going,
And the enthusiasm that the guys have, and the ladies, I mean, the crew, seeing them all at the dinner, and, I mean, that was a lot of people at that volunteer dinner, and it was really, made me feel really good. What, because I keep forgetting to ask this, and since you brought up radios, what does it mean when they come on and say, station covered level 1, level 2, level 3?
It depends what department you're with. Newport uses that all the time, and theirs designates what level of EMS certification you have, as I understand it.
Oh, so 1 would be a basic?
Yeah, 2 would
Two
be
and
intermediate, 3, but when our staff uses it, station 7200 is level 3, well, that means we have 3 personnel available to respond.
See, that's what I always figured it was number
Yeah,
of
and
personnel.
that's the way we interpret it and do it, and all of our people understand that, but, it's not, every department's not exactly the same with the terminology.
Right. It's nice to hear it though, because it gives you an idea that, what they can, that second call jumps in, which happens
Well,
a lot.
exactly, and what's concerned me, and that's why I insisted, okay, when you go out the door, we're responding with 3. And then okay, you're going on a medical alarm, 15 miles upriver with 3 people. Why did you leave somebody back? And then station 7200 staff with 3. Okay, good. Now I understand why.
Yeah.
So it's, there's all kinds of enthusiasm at the station. People are happy, and we
That's
take
great.
our temperatures when you come in, and take your temperatures when you go.
back to the ambulance, was the ambulance a build call in?
Yes, the report's been submitted to Pacific West, and then we should be reimbursed for that.
Or $500 or whatever it is, so.
Yeah, it's either 500 or 875, or I forget what the contract says on it.
It's not 800.
No,
No, I thought it was like 425 is
Yeah,
what
see, I
numbers
was-
in my head, but
Well, no, when Ray and I set it up, it was 500.
Yeah, it's 500, I'm pretty sure.
And, yeah, my hopes, and I talked to Jeff about that, you know, the more availability we have, and with the EMT class we taught, we have more licensed EMTs. Cindy Caldwell, I should have mentioned that during the report, one of our volunteers, she just finished her EMT testing, she took it over at Chemeketa, her class, because there wasn't one here.
Good. She drove all the way over there for classes,
Yeah.
huh?
And she was in the academy, the fire academy this fall, and so she'd drive to Lincoln City for class there, and then she'd leave there and then go over the valley, and then she'd go to Chemeketa for EMT class, so.
Wow. She gets her,
That is dedication.
yeah, she gets her, passes her class, bring her into the meeting so that we can thank her and
Yeah.
give her her patch or something like
Yeah.
that. Cause boy, that's really,
Yeah, well, that's commitment. And
That's commitment.
It speaks volumes about the quality and caliber of staff that we have.
yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's really very important to recognize those people. You know, not just for retention, but just because it's a great thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we've
Yep.
been talking about more and more, trying to
Yeah.
do more of that, and, you know, even badging ceremonies and things like that.
Well, and that's the intent when, Cindy just now been here. How long have you been here now?
Almost, a little over a year now.
The intent, they officially get their badge at the 1 year point, and they're in their Class B uniform. Eric and Cindy, some of those have gotten it ahead of time just because with them attending the academy and doing things. But my intent was at the 12-month point, when their probationary period's over, that we come in and have an official badge pinning ceremony, but with the board.
Yeah.
Keeping our social distance.
Yeah,
Yep,
but, and,
Yeah, you're-
having spouses pin the badge.
but, and I know we're asking them to be here, one or two nights a week.
Chief Mason, we've subscribed as part of our Target Training Solutions. There's a staffing module that you can purchase with that, so we've added that on. And so,
I mean, for trainings,
for trainings, it's once a week.
it's just once a week. I wouldn't have a problem coming in on their training night, so they didn't have to take
Right.
even more time out of their family stuff, because
Well,
we're here once a month,
right, but
it's-
I like the formal setting of this, and then the fact that we're live streamed, that then.
Oh, that's true.
Then
That's
everybody
true.
can see us doing the official badge pinning.
Yeah, so, okay. Eric, do we have any?
Actually, we do have a couple comments,
Okay.
questions.
that Kevin Mills is a no good son of a bitch.
Wendy from Information Station, Wendy Knudsen, which I guess is my wife. She asks, what are the requirements for the budget committee, i.e. do you have to live within the district, so on and so forth? She actually mentioned that this was a couple weeks ago, one lady being interested in being on the board.
And yes, you do have to be a member of the
You have
district.
to be a taxpayer in the
You have
district.
to be a taxpayer in.
Or a resident, I think.
No, you have to be a resident and you have to be registered to vote.
So like in our place where the second grader drew the fire lines, we are not on, I mean, we literally have fire district here and here, not us.
Yeah, he's right on the board.
Yeah, so unfortunately, she would not qualify.
Okay,
Wow, that's too bad.
so,
Sorry, Wendy.
When the second grader drew.
well, when I thought about this, we'll start registering our stuff at my office, and that is our district.
Yeah, there you go.
We live there now.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, we're having problems all the time getting people to be on these committees.
Well, unfortunately, that is one of the qualifications,
That's like
so
a
you have to be a
state
voting
rule,
member
yeah.
of the district.
That's
Yeah.
one of those statutes.
Yes.
You know, like
Statutes.
I think I was talking to Frankie the other day. She said there's like 2 rules, and there's only 2 rules. You have to literally register to vote, and you have to live in the district. There's
Yeah.
2 rules to being. You don't have to have any other knowledge. You don't have to have any other qualifications. You can be the greatest criminal in the world. You could still serve on a fire board. So
And then as far as the post-mortem testing,
Oh, yeah,
John Townley says that, yes, they do.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yes, they are testing suspected post-mortem patients.
I would think they would.
Yeah,
And then, of course, I don't know if his wife is the head nursing supervisor at the hospital, so.
Oh, I didn't know
Okay.
that.
Just to add that to the record so that it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
very good.
That's good.
Thank
Well,
you.
I had a friend recently pass away very unexpectedly, and I just kinda wondered, you know, gee, are they gonna test him? But,
Oh, and, well, being you mentioned that, well, hi, John, hi, Aaron.
thank you. Thank you for the question, for the answer for that one. All righty, so unless anyone has something for the good of the order,
Executive section, I had two quick things.
oh, okay, then we will adjourn into executive session